Yo, what's going on? It's that boy Fred. Welcome back to another video. And as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, we got another versus battle video going down. We got my boy Pain versus Itachi Uchiha today. Now, of course, this is a very anticipated match. You know, this is one I've been wanting to cover for about a few weeks now. But, you know, I've been trying to get some other stuff out the way before I touched on this one. But now that I'm ready, got all my stuff together, we can get down on this one. And of course, it's going to be a good one just like the rest. So make sure you go down there, leave a like, comment, share the video. And if you disagree with anything, let me know in the comment section. But with all that out the way, let's get straight into this video. All right, now in a versus battle like this, you know, both fighters have multiple variations. And so we can talk about multiple types of Itachis and Pain. So, you know, mainly we're going to be talking about healthy Itachi versus Pain. Because in my opinion, sick Itachi gets mid-diff by Pain. I mean, that's just my opinion. If you disagree, it is what it is. But so in that case, that's all we're going to be talking about: healthy Itachi versus Pain. So getting right into my main reasonings, we're gonna start off with, I guess you could say, the Genjutsu part, because Genjutsu is of course a big part of this fight. Whenever you're speaking on Itachi, you have to mention Genjutsu because it's such a big thing in his arsenal. Now, personally, I feel like Genjutsu is so iffy because, like, we all know that the Genjutsu that Jiraiya was able to pull off with Mom Paul was able to affect the Pains, but that was because it was a hearing Genjutsu. So even though you would think that the Pains wouldn't be able to hear because they technically are just corpse being controlled by chakra, it still managed to work. And since, like, I guess you could say the Rinnegan, of course, is a superior dojutsu to the Sharingan. Would an ocular genjutsu work on it rather than, you know, a hearing one? And that's, you know, the only iffy part about it, because, like, you can suspect that both of them, because, like, really whatever you're talking on is probably going to be headcanon no matter what, which way you go with this, because, like, if you lean down the way where you say it does work, well, then that means just like, well, why is the Rinnegan considered a superior dojutsu if it could still be put under genjutsu by a regular mangekyo? So, you know, but then you go down the other path where you say, well, it won't work. Well, then now Itachi's in a big disadvantage again. So, I mean, it just is what it is. I guess I'll talk on both ways, just to give it a fair shot. So I guess we'll just say it does work. We'll say it does work for Itachi's favor. Now, of course, if it does work, Itachi has a few different genjutsus he can pull off to help him secure the win, being the finger genjutsu, being, of course, his base Sharingan genjutsu, Tsukiyomi. And so with those out the way, you know, I feel like number one, Itachi, even though he's healthy now and he doesn't have to strain himself on chakra like he would if he was sick, he can use Tsukiyomi a little bit more lenient than he usually would. But I definitely don't feel like he would use that so, like, lightly. I definitely don't feel like that would be one of the things he would use in the beginning. I feel like he would try to pull off the finger genjutsu or just a base Sharingan genjutsu if he can. The finger genjutsu, of course, will work probably the best if you ask me, because, you know, I mean, Itachi's not much of a fight. I mean, not much of a fighter, Lord. He's not much of a talker, especially when it comes to, like, in a fight. Like, he seems like the type of guy that goes in there, he's ready to fight, and he's not, like, gonna be chapping it up too much. So, you know, if it was, like, I wouldn't say in character, but, you know, I can't really tell with Itachi, but it's definitely a way you could say that Itachi could be talking to Pain and say something like, I'll defeat all of you, and point towards them and catch one or two of them in a finger genjutsu. You know, that's one way it could go down. And so, you know, genjutsu could work, like I said earlier. It could, it couldn't. It's all speculation, but, you know, we'll keep it to the point in this fight where it can work. Um, Now the next thing I do want to move on to is just the sheer number of Pains. Of course, it's going to be a 6-on-1. So going against Pain, of course, for anyone is going to be a tad bit difficult, because for the most part, it's going to be one person versus six. So it's not going to be an easy fight whatsoever. But with Itachi being healthy, I don't feel like the sheer numbers will overwhelm him as much as when he was sick, because at least he has more chakra and more, you know, well, yeah, just really more chakra altogether. I wouldn't even. I was gonna say more jutsu, but that doesn't even make sense. But yeah, he just has straight up more chakra and more stamina, so he can of course fight longer, and he doesn't have to be as lenient with what he can use and can't use. Now that he has that extra amount of chakra that he doesn't have to hold back, so the sheer number wouldn't affect him as much, but it's not gonna like not affect him at all. It's definitely gonna get to him because it even got to Naruto at a certain point, but I mean, it got to Jiraiya. So, it is what it is. It's bound to happen. Now, I also want to touch on both fighters' move sets real quick because I don't want this video to drag on until like a 20-minute video. So if I'm going a little fast, I'm sorry. I just want to get both fighters analyzed and come up with a conclusion real quick, so I don't beat around the bush too much. But both fighters' move sets, for the most part, everyone here knows it. For Itachi, we have the Susanoo, we have the Tosca blade, uh, Yaska Blades. He also has a Susanoo move. That's the one he threw at the Planetary Devastation, Chibaku Tensei, whatever you want to call it, when him, B, and Naruto use their attacks to destroy the center core of it. Of course, he has his Fire Style Jutsu. He has his Amaterasu. He has Tsukuyomi. He has Shuriken Jutsu. He has Exploding Shadow Clones. We all know Itachi has a lot of his arsenal. Now, in Pain, we all know that Pain has mostly 6 different powers divided into 6 different bodies. Um, as we all know, we have the Diva Path, which is our one who can use Chibaku Tensei, Almighty Push, and Almighty Pull. We have the Asura Path, the one that has all the guns and weapons on it. We have the Animal Path, that is our summoning pain. We have the Human Path, the one that can rip souls out and gain information. We have the Preta Path, the one which can absorb ninjutsu, and we have the Naraka who isn't much of a fighter, but he is the one who can revive pains. So those are your 6 pains, and like I said, they all mostly have singular abilities, so it's not gonna be too much to worry about. It's just the fact that there's 6 bodies using one specific move the entire time. All right, and now I also want to tap on this real quick because of course, the area that this fight does, it does matter. Anytime you're talking about pain in a versus battle, and you want to be, canon with it, of course. Um, it does matter where the fight takes place at. Because if we're gonna put Itachi at his healthiest, I only feel like it's fair that this fight takes place in the Rain Village because that's when Pain is gonna be his strongest. It's not really fair that you would put him in Konoha, because it would be a lot harder for him, well, all the Pains to receive chakra because they are stronger the closer they are to Nagato. So I mean, even though the whole Naruto fight went down, and you could say that he was at a disadvantage. Well, of course he was. So even in that situation, I feel like we should just give Pain the benefit of doubt and give him the chance that he's at the Rain Village where he's at his strongest. If Itachi's going to be healthy and not sick, and he's at his strongest. So now I guess I can start going into how this fight could play out. Now, um, of course, I would just be, I would just, I don't even know what to call myself, but I guess I'll be an asshole if I sat here and said that Pain could just sit here in Chibaku Tensei, Itachi, and call it a raps, which of course would work. But in these versus battles, you want to be real with yourself, and you want to keep the characters how they would act in the show. And as everyone know, in fights, really in any anime, no character has ever came out straight guns blazing and used their strongest attack right off rip. They use their baby attacks and the longer the fight goes on, they eventually come into their strongest attack. So, of course, we're not going to sit here and say Itachi comes out here in Tosca Blades or tries to straight up Amaterasu every pain right off rip, because that wouldn't work neither. That just wouldn't be in character. All right, now, so I guess we can also touch on, of course, both characters are very intelligent. Because now that we're getting into the part of the fight where we're going to get into our conclusion, I also want to touch on this just before I fully go into that. Intelligence wise, we all know Itachi is like top tier intelligent wise. And one thing I want to point out is that, of course, dealing with the passive pain, you're going to want to figure out that they're being controlled from a distance. And so if Jiraiya eventually was able to figure it out, not to say Jiraiya is, dumb in any kind of way, but compared to Itachi, he's gonna look pretty stupid. So, and Itachi being the wise and smart guy he is, who's like probably arguably like a top three smartest character in the entire show, he will figure out that what pain truly is, and the real one is not among them in like no time. So that's one thing to keep in mind, their intelligence level. And we also know that probably Itachi won't know too much about pain whatsoever until he sees him actually in action. But Pain will actually know a lot more about Itachi than he thinks, because, of course, he's the so-called leader of the Akatsuki at this point in time. Zetsu was giving him information. So even when Itachi and Pain, and Nagato were both fighting Killer Bee and Naruto, Nagato was able to warn Naruto when Itachi was building up chakra in his eye to release Amaterasu. So that's one thing to keep in mind. All right, now we can get into the full-on conclusion on this, and that is that in this fight, of course, Itachi will probably come out, and the smartest thing I would say for Pain to do, which he's done in every fight he's been in, is start off with summonings. And now that Itachi doesn't have the issue of the low chakra and stamina supply, I feel like Itachi would, of course, probably Amaterasu these summonings to try and get these out of the way. Because if Itachi could probably get rid of the summoning jutsus first, because I feel like personally the three most devastating pains that Itachi's gonna have to deal with is the Preta. Well, honestly, I guess you could say 4 out of the 6 are probably going to be pretty annoying. But the ones that are going to do the most to him are probably going to be the Diva, of course, the Animal, and honestly, the Asura Path, because those are probably especially the Diva and the Asura Path, those are probably the two best hand to hand and just straight up fighters. And then summoning jutsus, those things are huge, so they're going to be nagging Itachi on a lot. So honestly, to get rid of those as quick as he can will probably be his best bet, being to Amaterasu those. And now that he's left, Itachi will probably start throwing jutsus out and realize that the Preta path is the one who can absorb an ninjutsu. And so Itachi, being the smart guy he is, like I said earlier, he will probably try and maybe finger genjutsu or just regular ocular genjutsu, one of them. I truly feel like he might not use Tsukiyomi unless it comes down to it. And I feel like if he was to use Tsukiyomi, it would definitely be on the Diva path, considering the fact that he knows that's the leader and that should be the relatively strongest one. So he would probably try and put, like, I would say, the Preta path in the Genjutsu, and then maybe a Matarasu him, since he's down and he's the only one that can absorb ninjutsu. Now it's also a situation where, of course, the Diva path can almighty push it away. But after he does that, I mean, that's just one Amaterasu. In 5 seconds, Itachi can shoot out another one. And so I feel like the Predator path gets dealt with pretty easily. The Naraka path really isn't a fighter, like I said earlier. He's more of a support, sit back in the back and revive them. So I feel like Itachi will find a way to probably deal with him as well as he can. Because if Sage Naruto was able to deal with some of these pains relatively easy, and I'm talking about the three that I just named, well, these first two that I just named are the ones. Well, yeah, including the animal. I'm sorry. Yeah, these first three that I just named are the ones that Naruto dealt with first. Because when Naruto was fighting last, he was fighting the Diva, the what was it? The Diva. I want to say the human and the Asura path. So he was fighting those three. Correct me if I'm wrong on the human path. It might have been the Praetor path who was the last three that he was fighting. But nonetheless, he was fighting those three last. So I feel like it would be the exact same for Itachi, because those first three are not going to get in his way too much. But except for the summoning. So Itachi will have to use up a little bit of chakra on the Amaterasu to probably get rid of all those summonings. But it will be worth it in the coming up in the future of the battle. Now, of course, Itachi can, with Tosca Blade, seal away any of these paths at any given time, because now granted, Nagato did have a smoke screen in front of him. Itachi technically did stab Nagato with the Tosca Blade before he was able to react. I do feel like personally, if that smoke screen wasn't there, Nagato would have been able to react. But just giving Itachi the benefit of doubt, none of the pains are as fast as Nagato himself. So if he got hit by it, I would you know, I feel safe to say that any of the Pains would probably get hit by it as well. So, if any of them do get hit by that, that's a G for them. They're getting sealed away. And now also, Itachi has the Yadomir, the shield, and with that, he can block any type of almighty pushes. He probably can block a almighty pull. So situations like that, I feel like a healthy Itachi honestly just has it a lot easier in this fight than Pain does. Now, in the slightest, even though I have been talking more so about Itachi's abilities than I have Pain, I feel like the sheer number in the pains can easily pull off something as well. Now, of course, let me not use the word easily around because I feel like whoever wins this fight, it's probably going to be 9.5, maybe 10 out of 10 difficulty. So, like, this fight will not be an easy one for either side. No matter if Itachi used all the things that I just said, it will not be easy on him because he's taxing his chakra like crazy. And nonetheless, it's the same for the Pain. Even though Nagato has, he's a Uzumaki, so he has plenty of chakra to give. It will definitely start to get taxing on him just a little while longer. The Pains just probably aren't as durable as Itachi is, I want to say personally. But yeah. So with those little things out of the way, I honestly want to come to a conclusion and say that Itachi will probably win. Like I said, probably anywhere from 9 to 10 out of 10 diff. It's no question this was a hard one because honestly, initially going into this, you know how I said early in the beginning of the video, I thought that Pain versus Sick Itachi 5 out of 10 diff. I was really thinking the same thing until I looked more into it, and I was, even though I made a most overrated Naruto character video and it was Itachi, I didn't mean in that video because I never got to fully explain myself in that. I didn't mean Itachi was overrated in this type of circumstances, like what I'm in right now. I more so meant him in like when people say he can go against Madara and Naruto and Obito and stuff like that. I want to say I stated that in the video. But in a situation like this, Itachi, I definitely was underestimating him because I thought that even like healthy and sick would not be that big of a gap, but I definitely was wrong. So I definitely will give this win to my main man Itachi Uchiha. It was a GG for Pain. Good fight on both halves though. But if you disagree with me, leave a comment below. I know this video got a tad bit longer than what I actually wanted it to be because, to be honest, I wanted it to be only like 10 minutes, but looks like it turned into 17 or 18 whenever I'm finished. But yeah, that'll probably end off this video. I'll wrap it up nice and easy. If you disagree with me, like I was saying a little bit earlier, leave a comment below. But I like to think my reasoning and my facts are pretty valid. So with all that out the way, all my rambling going on, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video with someone else that you think might enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.